All right, I was gonna let this watermelon plant grow out for demonstration purposes. I decided this actually would be a great time to cover watermelon training, what we should have done initially to avoid it from growing in this manner. Instead of initially, I was gonna let it grow out and show the difference of how the fruits develop, producing smaller fruits if we were not to do the training. This more is a late trimming within the season. So this will show basically an ideal of how redirecting training, even though the process I'll be doing today isn't ideal, how training redirected will allow for the fruits that's in place to produce and get bigger. So one thing we want to pay attention to is of our watermelon and how our vines grow. So if we look at this plant, this is the main stem where it grow out from. So you'll see a lot of other vines going out as well. These are smaller stems. So one thing I will like to point out, when you are pruning your watermelons, you typically don't want to cut more than a third of the plant at once to avoid stress or a significant amount of shock. I ain't average though, so I do what I want. Let's see here. With this, when we speak on suckers, say for instance, if we want to let it grow out like this, and this is our main stem, this is our main vine. The side shoots that come out like this, if you'll notice, it'll be much smaller initially. With those are our suckers on our watermelon plant. So this here, if you follow this vine, it is one watermelon on here. The same as this side shoot here. It's roughly one watermelon here, right there, you can see. So typically, what we would want to do to allow, or if it was to say, for instance, this was our main stem, to allow for our watermelon here to get as big as possible, instead of allowing this to continue to grow out consistently and basically distributing energy to parts of the plants it doesn't need to go, it's best once you got a healthy stem, healthy vine, to cut 2 inches above where your watermelon fruit is. That way the growth at the top of that will stop growing. Allow for the fruit to thicken up below it. So if you'll see, if this was our main stem, it's only one vine on there. And that'll allow for all on this stem, this vine, to produce a much bigger fruit. So issue with that in this plant, however, I ain't gonna stay. Because like I said earlier, this is my main plant. So you see that one fruit, or you see that one fruit? This is a side shoot, a sucker as well, which this is producing the fruit as well. That would be cut also. But not right now. So my main stem, let's see. If we look at my main and we follow it, we'll notice we have a watermelon there. Okay, that's one watermelon. Let's see how healthy we're going to the bottom. We have 2 watermelon there. That's 2. Okay. We do have 3 down here. So I think that's overkill. So I'll be cutting that roughly 2 inches above that watermelon there. That way we can make sure our energy distributes to the ones below that. But this is the vine I'll be focusing on mainly. That there, that's a sucker. If you want to produce a smaller plant on the side, which isn't recommended in my opinion, you keep that there. I'll be cutting that eventually. It may not go today because like I said, you only want to do a third. I'm gonna get a bit over that, however, because like I said, So right now, it can the same thing as we're speaking to the other ones. If you follow this, you'll typically find 1, maybe 2 watermelons on this side. If we cut this earlier though, just the ideal of how the energy work, if we cut this when it's sprouting out at its earlier stage, roughly 40 days ago or so, let's say, all this energy that's produced into wasting and making these leaves here would have added to the watermelons that's on the side and the front, and those would have been much bigger at this time. So that's the importance of staying on top of trimming. That's with any plant, truthfully. Once you're in these pots also. So this here, it's a lot of grain waste. You see it's a sucker growing off of this, as well as a vine. We'll be cutting right there and just removing that full length. So it's gonna hurt. That's a third right there, honestly. I'll take y'all slow. I'll come back out here and water. So right there, so I'm gonna come and throw this part of my compost pile. Got some trees as well. I gotta get a couple to my offer. But I'm gonna throw this in my compost pile on the side. That turns to fertilizer. So with that, so if you see right there, that cleared the plant out a good bit. So keep in mind, there's still fruit growing on this side. So if you want to see if you can get some smaller ones, honestly, I'm not 100% certain if this is my sugar baby, because I forgot my labels, if this is my sugar baby watermelon or my orange tender sweet. So with that in mind, I may only cut this side shoot, thinking about it, the side shoot on there, and make sure there's no additional side suckers or shoots growing on this one, and I may let it grow like that, just in case it is a sugar baby. I may not. I may just go off the one vine. So that's something I'll determine in the next few days. I will come out here since I gave it a bit of a shock and water it down a good bit. That way it doesn't hinder its growth. Come back here in the morning. May give it a bit of bone meal and let it produce from there. And like I said, y'all see how small the fruit is now. Once we get some growth in, you'll see in roughly a week, that'll get about 4 times bigger long. So we'll keep y'all updated as we go along. Hey, y'all stay healthy. And remember, it tastes better when you grow it yourself. I'm out.